I found a clinic in the United States and I went and had my first exosome therapy. And the results were incredible. We were measuring my cholesterol, my glucose levels, all these like different patterns. And I'm very big on data. Testing for me is extremely important because it's one thing to feel great, right? Obviously that's a goal. You do want to feel great. But I want to look at data. I want to look at the befores, the afters, what has changed in my lifestyle that could have impacted this. So one of the big things after having my stem cells and exosome therapy is my hair started reverting back. So if you look at my roots, the roots of my hair started turning black again. So it was actually a funny thing because typically what you'll see is you'll see the gray root and then you'll see the dark hair as the gray is coming. And so we have these amazing images of where it started showing up black with the gray afterwards. And so my hair started reverting back. Most of my hair was kind of salt and pepper, a lot of gray, which I didn't care about. These things were not important, but these were just things that were happening. My skin started changing. My metabolism started increasing. My glucose levels, I was pre-diabetic, and my glucose levels stabilized. My cholesterol was through the roof, and every doctor told me to take medicine for it, and I would have to take that medicine for the rest of my life. My cholesterol, it's as close to perfect as I can get it. No medicine ever required. So my personality is that which now I want to go down the rabbit hole. I want to see what more can happen with this. So I start learning that these exosomes are about 1,000th of the size of a stem cell. Why that's important is because we have this protection called the brain-blood barrier. And it's incredible because it prevents anything from actually impacting arguably the most important organ in our body, right? The brain. The exosomes are small enough that it can actually pierce through the brain-blood barrier. Why is that important? That's important because any damage that could have occurred up there, any inflammation, anything that's preventing the brain from functioning exactly as it should, the exosomes can get up there and start assisting with that. So what are things that have happened? Between myself and my friends, eyesight gets better, hearing gets better, smell gets better. All of these things neurologically are being improved by the exosomes. So the data for it, one of my good friends' eyesight started dropping down. He went ahead and got tested. So I thought to myself, let me go ahead and get tested. I had LASIK eye surgery about 12 years ago. And eventually over time, it fades a little bit. It's really good in the beginning. But we had this peak when we compared my optical results where LASIK was here. And then over time, it dropped a little bit. So it wasn't anything bad, but it popped back up over the last 2 years. So my eyesight is back to where it was after I had LASIK eye surgery, okay? So we start going through this and saying, what else can this help with? Now, I'm thinking to myself, like, if this can help me with my anti-aging protocols, how can it help people whose bodies actually need help? And so I thought of my mom, my mom's my favorite human in the whole world. And my mom had to have double knee replacement surgery, bone on bone. It was heartbreaking to watch this woman. When you see your parents at a stage where they can barely walk, it's one of those sad signs in life of time is flying by.
First it was right, now
Okay.
it's left as well. It hurts there.
Okay, so stand up and just kind of walk over to me. I want to see how you walk. Does it hurt when you're like standing up? And so I tried to convince my whole family, why don't we get exosomes injected into her knees? And the whole family was like, Ricky, no, like stick with the law. Let's get the knee replacement. Let's get it over with quickly. And my mom was the one person that said, let's give this a try. What's the worst case scenario? Well, worst case scenario is you get infection from the injection going in there. Besides that, these exosomes, as long as they are sourced correctly from FDA labs, super, super important, okay? They have to be sourced correctly from a very reputable place, and they have to go through an FDA approved lab, okay? Besides that, you may get infection, some swelling, but nothing like taking synthetic medication. So we get it done. The whole following week, my mom's complaining it's getting worse. 2 weeks later, it's getting worse. A month later, she's saying it's still getting worse. And I'm starting to question in my head, like, is this actually working? Is this theoretical? As an attorney, I love researching. And I read all these studies, especially in France and, knee replacement surgeries and how they used exosomes and so forth. About 6 weeks later, she says, my knees don't feel as bad today. That's all I needed. I just didn't need it to get any worse. 2 months later, my mom's saying probably about 60, 70% of the pain is gone. 3 months later, I start a tradition with my mom where every Wednesday we go out dancing. And I'm talking about salsa dancing, merengue, bachata, like really dancing. So it's been 2 years since she had her exosome therapy in her knees. To this day, my mom sends me her steps on her Apple Watch, and she does between 9 and 11,000 steps a day with a weighted vest on. Like, that's my superhero. But the fact of the matter is nothing else changed. There was no knee replacement surgery. There was no other medicine. There was no cortisol shots. Nothing else. Just exosomes. One time. Just one time. It wasn't, as I use exosomes multiple times for anti-aging, it was just one time. And my mom's knees are amazing. Okay? So from there, the wheel starts spinning. And here's the reason why. I spend the majority of my time on my charitable foundation called It's for the Kids. Our goal is to help children nationally, internationally, trying to help mitigate their circumstances. For example, if there is a child that's in a foster care system, we try to provide them the resources that they need. We're never able to fix, meaning I can't take away what happened that caused that child to become a foster child. I cannot help change what made that orphan an orphan. But what I can do is I can help mitigate the results after. If there are children that aren't receiving nutrition, I can provide that food. But for the first time, I thought, what if this treatment, with all these studies that are coming out now, if the exosomes can help children with autism? This was theoretical, based on research from other people who have used exosomes on children with autism. And at this very time, I had a meeting with the doctors. I was talking about it. I remember walking out, and one of my dear friends who served on the board with me at the Children's Hospital called me up and was asking me questions, and he opened up that his son has autism. I asked him if he was willing to give this a try and speak with the doctors, and the doctors explained every single thing possible. This is for research purposes. It is not FDA approved. And just go down the whole spiel. I mean, there are legalities of how you have to explain this and so forth. Then it's up to the parents who decide if this is what they want to do with the child. He trusted the process, and he had exosomes given to his child who was non-communicative, non-verbal, and I want to say within a week, they started noticing difference. And so first I was like, nah, it can't work that quickly. It can't work that quickly. And after over a dozen patients since then who have autism, the family seemed to the same thing. Within that first week, they noticed something, okay? And that can be different for all children. But for this one child I'm talking about, the first child, within the first 2 months, I want to say, he was now able to say, Daddy. He was able to say, Mommy. He was able to communicate to the parents. He was able to let them know what he needed. That was the moment where we realized that there's something very special here. So my mission with It's for the Kids of just helping softening the pain of what has happened to these children, for the first time with exosomes, we're able to actually do something that can truly help these children and provide hope to the families. And not just blind hope, but actually something that can help their children out. This journey of trying to figure out anti-aging and try to stay young and enjoy this beautiful world with this body, this is the greatest vehicle to experience this world, has now led to helping my family members, my friends, and hopefully my legacy of having our foundation work in a place where we can offer these exosomes to children that have autism to be able to help in any way. And as the families will say, even if it helps a little bit, it is worth it.